All right, this lesson is on adding and subtracting rational expressions. The first thing that we're going to look at is adding with like denominators. Okay, obviously if the denominators are the same, we're going to add those numerators and just keep the denominator. So let's do one example. If we had 2a over 3a minus 4, and we add it to 3a over 3a minus 4. Just like a regular fraction, we'd make sure they have the same denominator, and they do. Okay, and you're going to add the numerators across the top. So 2a plus 3a over 3a minus 4, and then add those numerators. Okay, those are just like terms. 2a and 3a is 5a. Keep the denominator the same. 3a minus 4. Okay? All right, good. Now, if we were to subtract with like denominators, okay, let's say we had 9n minus 3 over 10n minus 4 minus 3n plus 5 over 10n minus 4. Okay, so now I got binomials on top and bottom. I'm going to do the same thing. Check. Do I have common denominators? Yes, I already do. That's good. So now I'm going to rewrite it. 9n minus 3. I'm going to subtract and then put this in parentheses because what I'm going to have to do is distribute. Keep my denominator the same, 10n minus 4. When I distribute this negative, or that because it came from that minus sign, it's going to make this a negative 3 and a negative 5. And then rewrite that on the top. 9n minus 3. You could do plus and negative or just minus 3n minus 5 over the 10n minus 4. And then you combine like terms across the top. I have 9n and negative 3n, so I have 6n. Negative 3, negative 5 is negative 8 over the 10n minus 4. Now you'll notice here I can simplify. I'm going to divide out a 2 from all of those places. So I have now 6n divided by 2 is 3n minus 4 over 5n minus 2. Okay, good. Now, if we are adding with unlike denominators, okay. If we're adding with unlike denominators, so for example, if we have 5 over 6x plus 3 over 2x squared. All right, something like that. The first thing I'm going to have to do is make my common denominators the same. Excuse me. So that means that we're going to find our LCD, the least common denominator. Okay. Now, I know that I have to have 2 x's, and my coefficient is going to be able to be a 6. I can turn this 2 into a 6. All right, so I need to multiply what's missing. So my LCD is going to be 6 is going to be the coefficient, and I'm going to have it to be an x squared because I can't break it down and lose an x. I'm going to have to get it to the higher x. So x squared. Okay? Now I'm going to multiply what's missing. How do I make that have that common denominator? Well, what's missing here? I'm missing an x. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by an x on the left side of that first fraction there. And then on the right side, I'm missing that coefficient of a 6. How do I make it a 6? I'm going to multiply it by 3. So let's write that. Multiply what's missing. Okay. So I have 5x over 6x squared plus 3 times 3 is 9 over 6x squared. Now I do have my common denominator, so I can just add my numerators, okay? So 5x plus 9, I can't combine them, but I can add them and leave your denominator the same, 6x squared. Okay. We're going to do one more like that because I know it gets a little tricky. Let's say I had 3 over 7y to the 4th plus 2 over 3y squared. Okay. I got to first find that common denominator. I can't make the 3 into a 7 or the 7 into a 3, so I know my common denominator, just multiply those together, is going to be 21 as the coefficient. And I have to go with the exponent of the largest variable. So that's going to be y to the 4th. So now I got to see what's missing. I'm missing the coefficient. I need to turn it into a 21, so multiply it by 3. And then what's missing here? I'm missing, well, that coefficient needs to be multiplied by 7, and also it needs to be multiplied by y squared. Okay? And then let's rewrite it. 3 times 3 is 9 over 21 y to the 4th plus 2 times 7 is 14 y squared over 21 y to the 4th. Okay, add across the top. 9 plus 14 y squared over 21 y to the 4th. And that's your final answer. Can't simplify anything. Okay. Now, if we were to subtract with unlike denominators. Okay. All right, so I have, let's say, 3 over d minus 1 minus 2 d plus 2. Now, really and truly, if you were able to find those common denominators, you can do the same thing, multiply by what's missing like we did for the addition, and then subtract across the top. That is the same. If there's no common factors, so I can't just multiply by something to make them the same, I'm just going to multiply by itself, okay, by whatever the other denominator is. So my LCD, okay, for this equation, or for this one, is just going to be d minus 1, d plus 2. And that's allowed to just stay like that. That can be your denominator. You don't have to change anything for that. Okay? So what's missing in this first part? The d plus 2 part. So top and bottom, multiply by d plus 2. What's missing here is the d minus 1. Okay? So now you're going to distribute. Really, you could have written this the other way. 3 times d is 3d, and then 3 times 2 plus 6 over, leave that as the common denominator, d plus 2, d minus 1, and I'm subtracting, distribute again, 2d minus 2 over d plus 2, d minus 1. So I have a common denominator, just like I did before with my like denominators. I wrote them together but left that second part in parentheses. So 3d plus 6 minus parentheses, the 2d minus 2, all over the d plus 2, d minus 1. Okay. Take this -1 and distribute it, okay, which really turns this into a -2 and a +2. I'm not going to rewrite it for the sake of time. 3d and -2d, just left with d. Those are my like terms. 6 and a +2, the +8, over your common denominator, d plus 2, d minus 1. And that's it. The code word for this lesson is chuck bass.